Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to everybody in Ahmedabad. The panel has already been introduced, and perhaps the most exciting time and the most exciting sector to be in India at the point of this space is banking, and within banking, digital banking. There was a time in India where borrowing loans, especially in the middle class, was considered an anathema. And here are we, when credit is booming, credit makes the world go round. And in India especially, when you have such a strong banking regulator and a phenomenal banking sector, we are really going great guns. The panel is here, ladies and gentlemen, in front of you, and we'll start this lovely debate. I'm sure everybody in this August gathering is now totally on mobile as far as his or her banking requirements are concerned, and the gentlemen here are catalyzing this growth. We'll start with you, Harsh, first. Lendingkart is a digital NBFC.
Sure.
Tell us something about yourself. You've catalyzed loans worth 20,000 crore rupees on your platform, and this market is growing exponentially. Where do you see the next couple of months or couple of years going as far as this landscape is concerned?
Thank you, Shailendra. I think it's an honor to be sitting among pioneers of digital banking. Asheesh Pandey, sir, we've been working with Bank of Maharashtra as well. Thanks for all your support, sir. And KPMG also has been our privileged partner all across our journey. So, Shailendra, like you said, that we are seeing the transformation, right? And I think all of us have heard about the success of UPI. All of us have heard about success of Aadhaar, right? And I think the literacy levels are going up in the country. The kind of data access that we are getting nowadays, the kind of digital access that we have, the kind of mobile penetration that we have, the kind of internet data rates that we have globally, these are all kind of near first in the world as well, overall. And I think we have one of the youngest populations in the world as well. If you look at the population that we have in the range of 83 to almost 40, 45 years in age, that's one of the youngest in the world as well. So I think there's a huge market in terms of that we can cater to. Normally we call this as the missing middle, or people who are coming up and will have needs overall. I think what has happened is all of these consumers are now coming into the banking sector. They are opening current accounts, savings account, they are using payment apps, they are using purchasing online, internet companies are booming and everything, and all of this gives us a lot of data. And like you said, credit makes the world go round as well.
Absolutely.
And I think right now, the credit on demand is the phenomenon where the nature of credit has changed. You want convenience, you want comforts and everything, and you can get that. So that's what we are visualizing. I think we serve micro and small businesses, and it's been a fantastic journey all across, serving them, serving young entrepreneurs, businessmen who are banked, GST registered. They want to do everything right and fulfill. So I think it's continued to grow and grow linearly from here, Shailendra.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as this is a city of stockbrokers and investors, all of us know how PSU banks are doing over the last 18 months, and we have one of the finest banks being represented by Mr. Pandey. Asheesh ji, about Bank of Maharashtra, and especially the theme that is running right across New Delhi, the political spectrum of providing credit to the lowest rung of the pyramid, the e-mudra scheme, the Rediwala scheme. Prime Minister Modi was at the India Today conclave last week, and he spoke eloquently about how the government is funding this lower strata. What has been the experience of Bank of Maharashtra, and how do you see this segment?
See, before I go straight away to reply to your question, let me take few data points.
Yes.
The first is that the GDP growth which we are seeing 8% around right now. The second one is the youngest and the highest population.
Ji.
The entire GDP or the economic growth which is coming up with the domestic demand. This is on one side. So I'm taking only some brief of the data. The second point, if we see the UPI, you know how it is faring up. Now 80% of the people are on the mobile or the mobile related banking. Every minute, 3 people are joining the net, out
Wow.
of which the 2 are from the rural India. The data usage, our country is number 1. India is stack, we know. Now taking this into the clue, it is very clear that if you have to serve the population, Now you cannot go back to the conventional one. Though conventional will remain, but it will remain only to the limited area where you have to give a personalized service, or maybe to the pensioners, or maybe something like that. Now, in order to have a growth, because going forward, you will not see maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, the infrastructure spending, the big proposal, 500 crores, 800 crores, 1000 crores. So the thing is that how you are going to mobilize with these small tickets.
Okay.
It may be small business, as you said, the financial inclusion. This financial inclusion means, maybe since I am coming to your straight away to your reply to your question, is the like Jan Samarth portal. Now government has coming up very heavily, like how to serve the underserved. So on that basis, if we see the ticket size is very small. Now if you need to serve them, you only have two choices. The first choice is either you double or triple your staff, being that the cost to income ratio will increase like anything. And certainly the TAT you cannot match, because everything has to be done within 2 to 3 minutes time. So I think that is the very key
Are
point
these
there.
lower loans profitable?
It is. But the thing is that operationally you have to be very efficient. I would not say only efficient, you have to be very effective. Why effective? Because the asset quality is very important.
Yeah.
So like just now we listened to, on the lending card side, the data is available. Now in any individual who is appraising, underwriting is a very key point as of now. The point is that if you are having 10 data, whether my individual officer is going to take that much data and do the underwriting. Now what we have observed in Bank of Maharashtra, I just give you one example, I think it is an eye-opener for even me. The PM Swanidhi, when we took up to the STP, now the time it was taking earlier was 8 to 9 days. And the pendency was going to 40, 45 days, 60 days. Now when we have brought it to STP, within 2 minutes everything is done, it is disbursed. And let me tell you, the NPA level which was high, observed to be high in the PM Swanidhi, now what we are actually seeing is, it is hardly, we are finding SMA 0, 1 and 2 and NPA is nil up till now.
Wonderful. I mean, that's a revelation, and that's also available in a lot of balance sheets that you study from the PSU banking sector, where GNPAs and NPAs are actually going down dramatically, all thanks to the kind of changes that have happened. We'll touch upon how global advisory firms such as KPMG are now changing this landscape. Mr. Doshi, to you. What are the new trends that you see in the digital landscape? There is an old world PSU bank which is now nimble as nimble can be, and there is a digital NBFC which has offices nowhere and is everywhere. So between these two worlds, where are we headed?
So I think both worlds are really performing parallel well, partnering superbly well. So there was a time when actually the questions which would typically come to the panels is this a threat? Are the new world companies are becoming a threat to bank? And now you can see actually we talk about partnerships, right? There are regulations around partnerships. So if you really look at digital is a bigger world. It's not only lending. So of course in the initial space you can see financial inclusion being driven by MFIs and NBFCs and filling that basically white space which banks were not able to really reach. Now digital is actually a much broader world. One is on the lending side itself, where they are touching various sections of the society, whether it's a different age group. The new age does not really walk into a branch. If you ask my sons, they don't really like to walk into a branch. Absolutely. They do everything on the phone. So they're really connecting to that part of the world. The other part is the entire services. I think people are used to really being serviced high, and there are fintech players who are beyond lending and actually are focusing a lot of providing various services, and not only to individuals but to MSMEs and SMEs, and which I would say yes, old world bank as you would try to really put it, right? But I would actually not say old world bank, but it's a bank which actually has built infrastructure and has an infrastructure legacy. So for them to convert that infrastructure into a very agile model, which most fintech players are able to provide as a front end to customer service, is something which is a fantastic bridge which gets built between the bank and that customer. So those models are really evolving, where partners, bank are really partnering with this new age fintech players to offer their solutions, their products, and that fintech player is topping it up with their services and that solution. So the customer actually is getting a one-stop shop kind of a solution available.
Okay.
So that's really something which I would say is a good trend going forward.
Okay, I'm sure that again will also change the lending profile of the kind of environment that we are working in. Harsh, coming back to you, uh, this Jan Dhan account, the JAM
Yeah.
Trinity, as well as the UPI, it's changed the financial landscape of India. When you look at a potential borrower, or when a borrower reaches out to you, what is the average profile, whether it's an MSME loan or a loan taken by an individual? How good are they in navigating your system? Of course, you are completely digital.
Yeah. So today, Shailendra, our typical customer is in the age range of 23 to 45. He's a first generation, second generation entrepreneur running businesses like a coaching class, computer academy, kirana store, mithai store. So the biggest advantage because of Jan Dhan and such stuff is that he has a banking account. He has a current account, savings account. He makes payments like if he's a kirana store, he'll buy from HUL or PNG and such stuff through bank, and then maybe collect through UPI or cash from his customers. But his banking statement still has the banking data that is needed for us to evaluate, right? He is GST registered. Our typical customer would be having an average daily balance of 75,000 in his account. So he's not exactly like the guy who just sells on cash and buys on cash and stuff like that. So he's typically a middle-aged person, 33, 34, young children, teenage children, where he's looking forward to sending his children to good education, traveling maybe in India or abroad, buying
Is
a
he
car.
a frequent borrower? Does he come back again to borrow?
I'll give you a classic example, Shailendra. We almost sanction 1,000 crore a month and only disburse 500 crores out of that, right? Typically, the understanding is that a small businessman is a needy guy and whoever wants to give you money, he will pick it up. 50% of our customers reject our offers of a bank loan, saying that this duration is small or the interest rate is high or we don't want our money now, right?
So
Overall,
that's an amazingly competitive landscape even at that level.
Exactly, right? So when we started this business, it was surprising that these young people, right, overall young businessmen, young entrepreneurs were thinking so much about their business, cash flows and economy. Just think of the fact that in a cash-starved economy like ours, right, where capital is starved, right, where capital is very less, 50% of our customers still don't pick up money from us. Right, that's really surprising, right? Overall.
Now, I don't know whether that's an opportunity missed or that's a whole new universe opening up for you.
Exactly. So I think normally the assumption is that small businessmen are not that prudent, they don't understand their cash flows. But I personally feel super proud of the people saying that they totally understand banking terms, they totally understand what kind of credit facility they're getting. And like we shared before, Shailendra, right? In India today, internet is on one hand going on, right? We realize that Uber Ola transaction can be a 1 hour, 2 hour transaction. Swiggy Zomato can be another hour transaction where you receive the food and it's over. Amazon or e-commerce transaction can be a 24, 48 hours or a 72 hours transaction where you receive the goods. Financial services is a transaction which starts from 12 to 24, 36 months and goes up to maybe 10 years, 20 years. But these guys are very prudent, right, in understanding that if I get in this transaction, into this relationship, I will have to serve this loan and this will have implications on my future, my kids' future, my parents' future and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mr. Pandey, now the fact that we have a digital credit history of debit and credit into such universes where the average ticket size is 70,000 to 2 lakh rupees. How is Bank of Maharashtra responding to this radical change that is coming into India? What are the steps that you are taking?
See, whenever when we target a small ticket size, I think let us understand the three pillars are very important. The first one is that you need to have a technology digital in place. You cannot do it manually. Number one. The second is the information or the data available. So you need to have the entire data and the underwriting through STP. So if I take these two, the bank is really poised, and already many STP journeys the bank has launched, and now further we are launching and going ahead. Now the third very important point, which I think all of us will agree, the event ticket size is too small. The most important thing is collections. The one should have a very robust collections. And the second is that you cannot even go for a collection simply that I need to collect with everybody. Now how you are using the machine learning and the AI based algorithms and the data where you are keeping the brackets in the quadrants like good, bad, good, and then you are really classifying where I have to send a person, where I have to call him, on what basis, and even then if a person is not actually maybe good with me but bad somewhere, why it is so, and should I increase, when you asked a question to Harshvardhan ji, like the second time. So I have to be very careful on even the second dose. So like PM Sonidhi is a very good example. The first is 10,000 and this is 20,000.
Yes.
If it is being paid nicely, certainly the customer second dose is available too. So
Okay.
I think these three things are there that then bank, since you have asked me, I also under the LODR in the 12 months, the March is in place. I cannot say beyond what we have in the press release.
Ji.
But then I think more than 310 the new initiative we have launched in almost say 18 months period, more than 100 RFPs, since it is my website. On the technology front we have floated. I think it is one of the milestone, particularly keeping in view the CVC guidelines. And the fourth thing is how capability you build in the system for the technology and digital.
Okay.
Because the data is going to be a huge role. It is going to be a very cyber security, data, DLP, and all those things is going to
Mr.
be
Pandey, we'll take that separately. What
Yes.
I wanted to understand from Mr. Doshi is, and because you have a view from 30,000 feet up, is how this digital landscape has changed the CFO's office, especially on the lending side. Given that so much of granularity of data is available, how do you see that CFO's office changing over the next 1 or 2 years, and what are the changes that are already there?
So, and absolutely it's right. The CFO office is really moving beyond the finance and treasury function. It's becoming a repository of data. The single source of truth is what we call, because again in the banking world what's really happened is technology has really built over a period of time, right? So various parts of banks really started building their own smaller techs, and those through APIs are connected with the bigger world. The data is all over the place. Now the CFO office is becoming really important to really ensure that they are really
Is
putting in all
data
the...
giving information, or it's data, raw data?
That's exactly. So basically what's happening is the CFO office is going to create that data warehouse and everything the banks have created.
Okay.
But on top of it, how you're really building the analytics engine. And then you're pushing data, either in the raw form, because regulators today are asking data in the raw form. They just want the data, and they have built their own fantastic analytics mechanism to analyze the bank's data and go back.
Because you have an experience globally, where do you think India is stacked when it comes to analyzing and reading this data and making money out of it?
I would say far ahead. I think this stack is good. I think India on the tech side, we really in the last 10 years have taken a lot of innovative ways of, for example, payments. UPI is the biggest innovation, and the data coming through that is huge, right? The kind of technology we have as compared to many of the developed economies in their banking world, and it's been driven also the kind of population and the kind of reach, and
Absolutely.
hence the need we have it, right? So it's great, but I think the quality of data
Yes.
is also important. So there again, there is still a lot of work to be done in terms of where the quality of data on which a lot of digital decisions are going to be taken. And if you go wrong there, then the outputs are going to be really bad, right?
Okay, let's talk about the most favorite thing that's happening in India, which is the UPI. Very quickly, Harsh, coming to you first, because you are the first line of assault when it comes to lending. Where do you think UPI is headed? Ladies and gentlemen, 12,220 crore transactions were done in January worth $220 billion. 1 year from now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be doubling, tripling. The number is like huge, right? Nobody has ever seen something like this
Absolutely.
in a country of India's size, and the kind of adoption that we are booking, right?
Give me a number.
Maybe 40,000 crore.
40,000 crore transactions.
Yeah. That's
By
what
when?
happened. 2 years.
2 years time.
Yeah.
Asheesh ji, since you sit at the heart of banking, where do you think UPI is headed in terms of volume?
volume will be, I think maybe around 50. It
50,000
is
crore.
going to be. It is going to be. And you know, all the partners or the players are looking for load balancer everywhere. You know, the people, the entire banking industry today is trying to find it out what sort of things are there. Otherwise, queue build-up is happening, so many things. So probably we have to think on those lines.
Because you talk to the Reserve Bank of India as also to the Government of India, I think you must convince them to get UPI listed. My final question, ladies and gentlemen, on data privacy. Because it involves money and India is also a hotbed of digital fraud. Very quickly to you, Sanjay. 2 quick words on digital fraud and how to avoid them. And
Well,
data privacy.
Well, I think the government's entire seriousness is also seen by the entire privacy guidelines which has come, or regulation, not guidelines, but the regulation which has come. We're waiting for the guidelines to come, but it's very serious. I was talking to many of the large banks, including large public sector banks, and they are sitting on a repository of personal data
Absolutely.
of a good population, right? And that data really falling into wrong hands can create havoc. Either whether it's a cyber issue or it's basically people misusing data in terms of any kind of commercial activities as well. So it's going to be big. It's one of the biggest investment area which the government as well as the regulator has identified even for banks to really go and spend money on and create whatever security mechanisms you can create around it.
Okay. Ashish, the last word on data privacy to you. Very quickly.
Very quick. See, one thing is that recently, I don't know how many of you are aware, one of the IT company was attacked ransomware 10 days back.
Yes.
So why I'm saying it that first now you need to have a very clear data vertical in your organization, which up till now we have not thought of. The very second point is that with the data vertical, the data quality index. That is the second important point. Third thing, I don't think we have that much mature to go straight away everything to public, but then I think in prim right now. And when it comes to data, we have to be very sure what data you want. Don't have everything and not able to control. I think this is the
Right.
problem.
What you will store and
Store and keep.
you have to
Yes.
start.
Take that only.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, gentlemen. This is a topic on which we can go on for hours and hours, but time is short and time is up. Thank you so much for your lovely thoughts, and I'm sure we are going to see 50,000 crore transactions per month on UPI 2 years from now.
Thank you,
A
gentlemen.
round
Thanks
of
so much.
applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.